Hey everybody, it is a Cuban Yonko here today. I am so excited to do this One Piece chapter 969 review. This is my very first manga chapter review for the series and on the channel, so I'm extremely excited about this. So let's get right to it. So on the cover page, we see Gotti versus Marine, right? And Gotti got bodied, all right? Gotti just got washed. I did not see that coming. Thought Gotti was a pretty cool character in Whole Cake Island, but yeah, he took a huge L. So let's move on to the chapter, right? So it starts off with Oden, right? He is pissed off. Remember, just the last chapter on 968, Oden saw Toki have an injury in her leg. She got shot by an arrow by one of Orochi's men, right? So, I mean, he's pissed off. His family got threatened, and being the man of the family, I mean, you got to go take care of business. So he's got some bad intentions, all right? So as he's about to slice down Orochi, we see some Bartolomeo fingers, all right? And next thing you know, just a big old bubble pops up, and it is a barrier bubble, right? And the one that's doing the barrier is the old man that was playing the instrument on chapter 965 next to the old witch. And turns out his name is Semimaru, Kurozumi Semimaru. And the old witch's name is Higurashi, Kurozumi Higurashi. So I guess it turns out they must be related to Kurozomi Orochi. But what's crazy is when Orochi asked the old witch, hey, who are you? The witch just replied like, nah, that's not even important. Don't worry about that. What is important is you gotta go claim the throne. You gotta be Shogun. So I mean, I found that pretty interesting. I don't know why she wouldn't just say, hey, I'm a Kurozumi. Maybe she didn't want to distract them from what she was dropping. But yeah, so turns out Higurashi and Semimaru, they're both Kurozumi, okay? And Semimaru, Bari user, and Higurashi, Clone Fruit. But one thing I just want to point out real quick in this chapter, I found it pretty interesting. I would have thought, Oden's power level, I mean, I'm thinking he's at least first division commander level. And with having the Enma and Abeno Habikiri and having such strong armament hockey, that I thought he would be able to just completely penetrate or slice the barrier. But I guess the barrier Nomi is just a very strong fruit. So that was pretty impressive because I would have thought, Oden or even like a character like Zoro would be able to penetrate through that barrier. And so now after a couple pages, we see Higurashi. She transforms into Sukiyaki Kozuki, Oden's father. And Oden is just completely confused. He's not really sure what's going on. And at first he really thought it was his father, and he's asking like, hey, why are you aligned with Orochi? But then she transforms right back into her, I guess, old witch form, right? And so Oden finally puts it together like, oh man, like, so that's what's going on. And then he asks Orochi, did my father really even die from an illness? And man, you just see the next panel. You just see Orochi just with a nasty look on his face, man. I mean, Orochi's just a snake. I mean, it basically just confirmed right then and there that Orochi did in fact poison Sukiyaki Kozuki. So, I mean, that's crazy, man. I really can't stand Orochi. He's got it coming to him soon enough. Can't wait for that to happen, but... So yeah, Orochi poisoned Oden's father. So next page we see basically the whole capital is outside the temple, right? And they're excited. They're like, finally, Oden's back. He's going to take back the throne. He's going to become Shogun. He's going to save Wano. No more of these nasty factories that's going on in Kaido's men. But then on the same page, we just see a huge dragon right above the temple. Kaido just hovering around, probably being destructive or at least intimidating to the people. But we don't see no fight between Oden and Orochi or Kaido versus Oden. And on the next page we see Oden just basically dang near naked, nothing but just with some, I don't know, old time Japanese underwear on, right? And he's just dancing around looking like a fool, picking up money from the street. And let's not forget, y'all. I mean, Odin is he's a daimyo, you know, like he's part of royalty. So I mean, that was pretty interesting to see. And as I see that, I'm like, okay, there's no doubt that's Higurashi. It just has to be. There's no way Odin is just gonna start dancing in the streets like a fool and just pick up gold pieces from the people. You know, like that's just not him. So I found that pretty crazy. So now it turns out a year passes by from when Odin finally arrived at Wano, right? And you see Odin running across the beach, just bawling his eyes out, but at the same time kind of laughing. And it turns out he had a newspaper that talked about the Pirate King, Gold Roger, executed. So I mean, that must have been such a crazy moment for Odin because, you know, obviously he has nothing but love for Roger, but at the same time, you know, he knows what Roger truly did at that moment. He just started the great pirate era. And then you even see Odin in the manga talk about, man, Roger, like what an amazing life you really lived. So I mean, you just see the respect that Odin has for Roger, and you know, you just love seeing those moments in One Piece. You can't get enough of those. So now we are at 2 years after Odin finally arrived at Wano. So technically 23 years in the past from the current story, okay? And this is pretty cool. So Kaido and Gecko Moria end up breaking in a fight in Ringo. And let me tell you, Gecko Moria looks like a freaking phenomenal villain right here. He looks 10 times better than what he ever looked like at Thriller Bark. He looked completely out of shape and dang near almost retired when he was at Thriller Bark, right? So he looks like the real deal villain. I would love to see that fight, but obviously you know how Oda works. He pretty much kind of just goes to the next page. So obviously we're not going to see the fight, but we already know the result. Gecko Moria most likely got washed by Kaido. All right. And also that was the last time we saw, the people of Wano saw the grave of the sword god Yuma. So, I mean, we pretty much knew Gecko Moria did take Yuma's body and the blade. So, I mean, we pretty much knew that. But what's pretty interesting, y'all, is that even though those 2 years passed by, right, Odin is still dancing like a fool, making himself look soft in front of the whole Wano capital. So, I mean, that's pretty sad to see, just seeing such a great, strong figure for Wano still kind of just looking like a goof. So, it's pretty sad to see. But really, the only people that still respect him are obviously his wife, Toki, and his kids, the 9 red scabbards, Lord Yasue, and Hyogoro and Hyogoro's wife, Okami. So now we're at Odin talking with Hyogoro and Okami. And Hyogoro's just being a boss, man. Well, first, he looks like a boss. He looks swole as hell. But, anyway, Hyogoro told Odin that he will never, ever be at Orochi's service. So, Hyogoro's not going for none of that. He don't care. He doesn't respect Orochi at all. So, 3 more years pass by, and Odin is still dancing like a fool in the snow, in the rain. Nothing has changed in the country. But now, finally, on that 5th year that Odin has finally showed up from Wano, Shogun Orochi pops up in Kuri. Orochi sees Odin and he tells Odin, I want to build more factories in Kuri, and I'm expecting your cooperation, Odin. And really, Odin just asked, well, I only got one question. What about the boats, and what about Kaido? And Orochi just looked all confused, like, what are you talking about? I told you I want to transform Wano into a gigantic weapon factory. And then he later tells Odin, oh, and Hyogoro? Yeah, well, I got Kaido pretty much just taking care of him. He'll probably gonna get killed. But obviously we know Hyogoro just got arrested, right? But then he also goes on and tells Odin, oh, and his wife. Well, yeah, my man just shot her down, so she's dead. And that is when Oden he lost it. He just was on the ground, bawling his eyes out. He just couldn't control his emotions any longer. And then Oden finally says, Kaido, I will make him pay. And then you just see his 9 red scabbards. They're all excited, like, man, finally, like, you finally spoken. We've been waiting for those words. I mean, they're ready for the smoke. They want all the smoke. So, I mean, that's awesome to see just how they're ready to transform Wano. So they're ready. On the next page, the last page of the chapter, you see the 9 red scabbards all dressed up, ready to go, ready to start war, man. So, I mean, it left off at an awesome last page, and I just can't wait for the next chapter. But one thing I want to talk about on the last page is Denjiro is 100% Koshido, man. I mean, this dude looks exactly the same. At first, I wasn't really buying it, but you know what? I am 100% sold. After seeing old pictures of Koshido and then this Denjiro right now at this moment in the manga, I mean, man, it looks like that is Koshido. So I'm excited to see what we're going to see from Denjiro, how he's going to get to Wano if, obviously, he's all the way in East Blue. So that's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, Oda always makes it work out, so I'm excited about that. But one last thing I want to talk about Oden and how he just made himself look like a fool for 5 long years, just dancing dang near naked with his Japanese underwear, right? So the reason why I believe that Oden did not rebel or just cut down Orochi right where he stood was because when Kaido was there and just felt that presence, he understood, okay, I finally have an opponent that really might be just as good as me, if not way stronger. So I can't just go ahead and lose my people. What good is it if I just go ahead, cut down Orochi right here, and then my whole family and all of Wano just gets wiped out by Kaido? It's just not worth that risk. So that is why I believe all this time, for these 5 years, Oden just put up with so much BS from Orochi. His hand was just forced. He couldn't do nothing. And that's why he didn't rebel. Now, having said that, it is still kind of weird how Oden just made himself look like such a fool. But if I had to guess, I would say Oden made himself look like a fool as a way of punishing himself because he knew he was helpless and just couldn't do nothing for his own country. He was supposed to be the shogun and free the people and stop all the weapon factories that is going on and polluting Wano and turning Wano into just a dump. But I feel like at that moment, that was the only way he could cope with it himself because he knew he was the guy that was supposed to put an end to that. So it was a way for Oden to just go ahead and punish himself. Not only punish himself, but I feel like Oden truly did, in a way, kind of lose respect for himself. Like, he didn't feel like he deserved to be respected from his own people. How could you be respected from your own people if you can't even stand up for them? So that's why I believe that Oden truly was just acting like a fool because he didn't want people to respect him anymore. He didn't want to be looked at as Oden, that's our shogun, that's our leader. Like, that is a man of curry. Like, he is, he's the next great shogun. He felt like he didn't deserve that right anymore. He lost respect for himself. He didn't want the people of Wano to respect him like that anymore. So that is my theory on why Oden made himself look like a fool throughout those 5 long years. But he's finally had enough. Can't wait for One Piece chapter 970. It is going to be a great chapter. Like, every chapter is a great chapter with One Piece, man. So I just can't wait. But thank you all so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If y'all have any suggestions for any future videos, like any top 10 strongest characters or devil fruits and stuff like that, go ahead and just leave a comment down below, or any theories you'd want me to hit. So yeah, thank you all so much. Hope you all have a great day. Peace.